At the end, we're going to do a little intro thing about what we're going to talk about, and then we're going to go to and then I'm going to run the intro and then go to the episode.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Because I don't know exactly what we're going to be talking about.
Yeah, I gathered that. Yes.
On today's episode with Frank Todaro, we talk about moving out of your hometown,
Facebook optimization,
choosing the right career path, and getting shit done.
Let's shit done.
Go.
Yes. How would you like me to sit? Is this...
That's good.
Like
Cross-legged is good because crotch is just... There's a lot of heavy crotch action that shows up.
Yeah, I got already a lot to work with, so the...
Kazam! Episode Quattro. Bo. Frank Todaro, thanks for joining me on the show.
Thank you very much for having me.
It's great to have you.
It's an honor. It's a privilege.
Frank and me go back to high school.
Correct.
Probably like 15, I think.
Yeah, I remember you...
we started doing video stuff together.
Yes, we did. Absolutely.
Forgot about those
early
days.
on. Very early on.
Ungrounded Productions.
Yes.
Things were so simple. In from Connecticut.
Yes, Connecticut / New York.
One of my few East Coast friends now. And I thought it would be a great opportunity to bring you in here, talk a little bit about your experiences since you are in the film and video background. But I guess, can you maybe give a little bit about yourself and what you're doing currently, I guess?
All right, yeah, for sure. What I do now is sort of like a hybrid sort of role. I'm producing, I'm creating video content that's sort of optimized for Facebook and for YouTube. And it's, I mean, as you know, the industry is so dynamic where you have to kind of learn how to create new things. And like what you knew yesterday kind of can be thrown out the window, and what you're doing today can be completely different. So right now I'm creating soccer content for a company called Kick, doing stuff for YouTube, doing stuff for Facebook.
Kick. We'll put it down there.
Kick.
Got a little information there. I'll look up something.
Yeah, so it's like making soccer videos from scratch. It's like I'm a journalist. Like I'm writing content, and then I'm making that content instead of writing an article. Mm-hmm. I'm writing a script, and then that script becomes a piece of video content.
And you were the chief newspaper editor or something like that, right? What was your
name? I was the sports editor. Remember, Mr. Brady almost wouldn't let me become a sports editor because I was
Shout out to you. I hope you're still alive.
He is. I had lunch with him, I think last time I was here, actually.
Oh, great. Hey, good to see you.
It's very much so alive, Mr. Brady.
You have a kind of interesting academic route that you took. You kind of flip-flopped a little bit, and I'm sure there's some other individuals out there that are maybe flip-flopping or having second thoughts or maybe changing interest areas. How did that go for you?
Like when you go into school, like I think everyone expects you to kind of have like an idea in mind and a set path already set for you, and that's when you go, it's very much not the case at all. You know, you kind of go to school and you go to college to kind of figure out what you want to do instead of saying, oh, I'm going to go to school to be a journalist. I'm going to be a doctor. I'm going to do this and that. You kind of go to kind of find out who you are. You leave home for the first time. You kind of have to learn how to like be a student all over again because it's much different than high school. You know, you have to like teach yourself things at times. So I was in school and journalism was fine, but I remember going back to the stuff that we did when we were in high school, creating videos, and that was like something I enjoyed that I kind of thought we did an okay job at.
We did a really shitty job of, but it was really fun.
You know,
it was super fun. That was the biggest thing.
But honestly, it literally gave, like, I would never be where I am right now if we didn't do those videos. Like,
agreed.
So like I went to the University of Kansas to do journalism. Then I switched, ended up going to Webster, and that was probably one of the best things I could have done because that school is so hands-on. Like I actually got to use actual equipment and actually learned how to be felt like a professional already leaving school. And
Webster is like the premier film school in St. Louis for students to attend.
Liberal artsy sort of like school. It used to be an all-girls school actually a long time ago, but like they've really focused on film and just digital media in general.
Yeah, I know a couple people that went there for audio production too.
But going to like a school like Webster, I can come out of school and feel more prepared, and I can actually do things and become a one kind of person show, which the industry sort of demands, right?
From your 4-year schooling at Webster, you ended up getting your degree. What was your degree in?
It was like it's electronic media, but it's like you emphasize in certain things. So I did video production.
You know, you always had these dreams and aspirations within the sports field, and you ended up going to the East Coast.
Yeah, I did. Like I said, like my sort of background at Webster and KU sort of culminated into me being a potential candidate to intern at ESPN, and that was sort of like the goal, right? Of being a sports fan.
You definitely had the coolest job.
I know.
You know, I'm just gonna go to Connecticut and work at ESPN.
It's gonna go work for the worldwide leader in sports.
And I remember even in high school though that like you always wanted to work at ESPN.
Right. I think any sort of like sports fan, like my age, it's like oh, it's ESPN, and I went there and as an intern, like I trained like I would have if I were a normal employee. And I think getting the internship was actually harder than actually getting the job because it was almost a formality after that. Like I got a call back, like, you want to come work here? And I did. So I packed up and kind of just took a chance, went back to the East Coast in Connecticut.
I love how we have this going on. Same little post.
Well, so
I'll go this way.
I learned in a class, right? Exactly. So as far as your body,
we're touching tips.
This is where I'm at.
Oh,
I'm
great.
Here for you.
Here, let me try this.
See the leg. I think the leg has to be going this way though.
I feel strongly about this though.
That works too.
We're gonna try this out. I think you have a unique perspective of, growing up in a, Midwestern town and then moving to a large platform city or East Coast or West Coast, far away from home. Like, what was that experience like? I'm sure it was difficult for you to make and pull the trigger, but ultimately, like, what did it come down to for you?
Yeah, no, exactly. There was the transition wasn't the easiest, even for me, because I think you and all my other friends have kind of known, like, I've had some sort of an East Coast bias always. I just kind of have. Things are different, and you start questioning, like, did I make the right choice? I'll tell you, like, that first couple of weeks when my parents left me in my first apartment in Connecticut, I was just like, what am I doing? Like, is this worth it? Like, who am I doing this for, right? Is this from making my parents proud? It's just to, like, tell people back home I have a cool job. Like, am I really doing this for someone besides me? And I had so many regrets. I was like, I want to try to find a job closer to home. I want to try to do this. Looking up other careers even. And I'm sure, so many people come across that. And I just kind of stuck with it, not because I didn't feel like I had no other choice, but just like why put in all this work that I already put in and not see it through? So that's what I did. I stayed, stuck my head, down, did hard work. There are times it was tough, There's no doubt about it. But I feel like the best way to sort of learn professionally and as a person is to get thrown into the fire. When I moved away, it was very real, but very eye-opening, and I grew up, definitely became more mature because I wasn't the most mature person,
Yeah.
My personal life, relationship with your parents even, like it's, you really, really start to grow up and mature, and it's just on your own, and it's literally just from moving away. And
because you hadn't even lived on, besides school, you hadn't even like established and been living like job wise in St. Louis before you took off, really, right?
No.
What do you say to someone that's like, in the, amongst the battle of figuring out if they should leave the city that they're currently in and go, explore?
You can't limit yourself. And something my dad told me, which is great advice, is don't ever plan for your future based on the current situation you're in right now. So if you're like, I don't know, like you have a girlfriend or something like that, or like you're just very comfortable with where you are. Like maybe you have a job that you're working right now, but it wasn't something that you were like working towards. Just because you're comfortable at that very moment doesn't mean like, don't knock out every opportunity that you could possibly have just based on where you are at the current moment. So I would say absolutely do it. And like, it's better to know that there's just something else out there, and I figure that it's better to go ahead and try that now, because you're not signing your life away, right? I moved away to the East Coast, to New York. I work in New York City now, and it doesn't mean I have to stay in New York City for the next 20 years. Like I can come back next year. I could come back in 5 months.
Yeah.
So just go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
Try it, you know?
This applies to anyone where you're like exploring the realms of looking for a new job, or if you're not happy with where you're at right now, like, you know, look outside the city that you're in. Like, your resume will probably actually be more powerful to individuals outside the state than a lot of the other people you're shopping locally.
Correct. You have to cast as wide a net as possible because it won't hurt. Like, go ahead and apply to a job in Seattle. Go ahead and apply to a job in Tennessee, anywhere. Like, it's not going to hurt, right? It's going to do nothing if you don't actually just try. Cast as wide a net as possible.
Yeah, and then you touched on like comfort zone, and like that's a big thing that I'm into, is that like your comfort zone is your worst enemy.
Correct.
If you stay locked into that comfort zone and in that normal routine, I mean, if you're happy, you're happy, you know, to each their own, but like, you know, ultimately, I think everyone deserves to reach their fullest potential. And if you're only locked in that comfort zone, you're not taking those chances, those leaps, those opportunities, you're not seeing your life out to the fullest potential.
Have you seen that video about the professor talking about the lobster in the lobster shell?
Oh, yeah, I actually have.
Yeah, so it's exactly what you're saying, is that
when the lobster becomes, I don't know why I went to Morgan Freeman.
he has to feel a level of discomfort before he can actually break out of a shell into a new one, and that completely relates to
And grow bigger and stronger.
yeah, but it's literally like you have to feel uncomfortable in order to grow to that next step. You have to have some sort of uncomfort. If you're always comfortable, you're never gonna actually. Your body's not gonna tell you like, hey, this is your time to get to that next point. So, like the lobster and the professor.
Is Nubs on Instagram?
Yes, he is.
All right, Nubs, you get a link up. Just
shout out to Nubs.
So we have nothing to say about Nubs other than, hey, we'd like to shout out to Nubs.
It's all about shout outs.
That's about it. If you don't know Nubs, you should. So follow him on Instagram. So on a daily basis, really on the last several years, you've been working heavily on the social media platforms.
I have.
I know Facebook heavily, specifically, a lot of sports things. Is there any like good tips that you've picked up on for online just video promo that you would maybe want to share and give? I'm putting you on the spot with this.
No, that's fine. For Facebook, you just kind of have to perceive it as how you ingest the media itself. So when you're scrolling through Facebook, you see something that catches your eye. You're not going to hear the sound right away. So a good tip is always have some sort of captions on your videos, because I guarantee you more than half of the time people aren't actually hearing the audio of your Facebook video because it's just going to start auto playing. So you need to have something there to kind of give the person what you're trying to say without actually them being able to hear it. Most of the videos that I do for our Facebook platform have a written element involved, because strictly for Facebook is people.
Do you guys usually do like a call message at the beginning or something, or?
No, we found on Facebook that having a sort of like bumper at the beginning or summing up what you're going to say at the beginning doesn't work. It's more so, what can I do to draw in the viewer? So you want to kind of have your important stuff literally close to like the first 10, 15 seconds of your video. It's really something more catchy at the beginning. Make sure that someone is able to actually read what's being said instead of hearing what's being said, because half the time they won't be able to actually hear.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I don't think I've really ever, I guess, thought of it in that perspective. But I mean, people that are going to engage in your video that don't know anything about you, they're not going to hear audio right away. And
Nope.
I mean, most people, quite frankly, have the autoplay video enabled because it comes standardly that way unless you disable it.
Correct.
So that's a great point.
You always have to keep your demographic, your viewer, in mind. It's the user experience, and right now the user experience is auto playing videos and not hearing them right away.
I liked when you talked about Facebook videos. Has there been like one thing that you've done that was really successful within your own individual promotions? Did you do like one thing that like the company was like, oh man, that was really good, or did anything like catch on? You do like a lot of different like sports and stuff that I think get a lot of reach just because they're weird and out there.
Yeah, I remember I cut a there's a sport called sepak takraw, which is literally foot volleyball. It's people playing volleyball. They're literally doing bicycle kicks every single time. Like, instead of a spike, it's a bicycle kick. It's incredibly insane. And we had that like live streaming for a while, and I cut a video of it and posted it to Facebook. I make sure it was labeled properly, put some tags on it. But that was a while ago, and it literally got almost 10 million views.
Dang.
That video. And it was kind of like a perfect storm, I guess, because some page saw it and they shared it, and it just kind of snowballed.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, but see, that content, that was quick.
And we talked about that, though, too, as being smart with your content and sharing it with other pages that would be interested in your content.
Kind of do research ahead of time, saying who would want this content, you know, think
Yeah.
of a reason why they'd want it.
Is there anything additionally you want to add to...
So I think for anyone trying to do anything in sort of this industry is to kind of be aware of how diverse it can be. Like you and I started doing very similar things, right?
Yeah.
You and I and Brock, our friend Brock, who he's more of an actor now. But
I'm trying to get him to come on the show, but he's being an asshole,
Shout
not
out.
answering his text messages.
Shout out to B. Russ.
I'm not getting you any type of link hookup right now.
Shout out.
Until you answer my text messages.
So we all started doing very similar things, right? We were all kind of producing and writing. You more so directing, you know, being the guy with the vision with the camera. But like me, like I took a more of a journalist kind of route. But we still have the bare bones of what we did was like just making videos, just starting this type of work and industry and branching it off into other things. You know, you can work for a outdoor sort of channel. You can work in sports. You can do comedy. You can do so many different things.
Yeah, and you can reach for the stars, and you can try to make blockbuster films if you want. And
exactly,
you know, I know we're shooting a feature film locally right now, and like
Absolutely.
the dream is always there to end up making feature films. But there's so many opportunities to just like be creative for a living and do it and have a good living with it and have fun. You know, there's that existence is out there in many different forms. This was like the first time I've seen Frank in like a year and a half.
Probably.
Because I missed you last time you were in town. But always great to see him. Maybe we'll have him back on the show in the future. But we will go out on our high five.
There it is.
So we will freeze.
Were we supposed to freeze? Oh, shit. Sorry.
You just kind of, I'll end up freezing.
Okay.
But so then we just make it a little extra awkward because then we don't know what's going on. So then I can leave this audio in if I want.
Okay.
Because ultimately we didn't know what we're ever doing on the high five. And
so am I supposed to freeze or not?
We could be spinning through space right now, but it doesn't. I'm not exactly sure.
Should I high five you again or not?
We can high five again just to make it even better.